Hey guys, so if you hear anything in the background like talking or some, my apologies. My roommates are being quite loud right now, but whatever. So today we will be talking about false confessions, especially when the suspect is sleep deprived. So I was wondering if any of you guys have ever pulled an all-nighter where you stay up either partying, gaming, or preferably studying for a test. Now, I want you guys just to think that if you were in an interrogation room, would you believe it if I told you that just 40 hours later you might confess to a murder that you didn't commit? Well, that's what sleep deprivation does to you. So, in our overview of today's lecture, we will be talking about false confessions and interrogations. We're going to define what sleep deprivation is and what sleep deprivation can do in an interrogation. And then we're going to do some practical applications along with some examples, case studies, and demonstrations, along with some further learning. So, interrogations and false confessions. So, what are interrogations? Interrogation's goal is to elicit an accurate information and to facilitate the investigation. So the person being interrogated, suspect, is suspected of having committed a crime. And then the suspect has to have their Miranda rights read to them before any questioning can take place. So the Miranda rights are a set of rules and sentences being read to a suspect. And they include: you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you. Do you understand the rights as I have just read to you? And with these in mind, do you wish to speak to me? And the person can either say, yes, I do, or no, I do not. And most people do not take advantage of this because they think that they have nothing to hide. They think that if they are innocent, then why do they need to not speak to whoever is in charge? But it is recommended that you actually do in fact do not wish to speak to the person and get a lawyer for anything. Okay, sorry about that. So for the false confessions. So what is a false confession? It is when a suspect or the person being interrogated confesses to a crime when they did not commit it. So it could be anything like they confess to stealing something in a robbery, they confess to murder, they confess to tax fraud. Any crime, as long counts as a false confession when the person being interrogated is completely innocent. And there are 4 types of these confessions. So the first type would be instrumental coerced, and it is just when the person wants to get the interrogation over with. Say it has already been going on for a couple of hours or even a couple of days, and the person is just super tired of this all, super tired of people questioning the person, being under scrutiny, the spotlight, if you will, and they confess to the crime just to get it over with and deal with the consequences later. And then the next way, different type of false confession, is instrumental voluntary, and it's when the suspect confesses to the crime just to protect someone else. So if it could be like a husband and wife duo, they were planning to hire a hitman on, say, their cousin to get the grandma's will or something like that, and they got found out, and now the husband would confess to the crime to protect the wife. And the police would be like, oh, since he confessed, then he also said that no one else was involved, and so the wife goes free. That's an example of instrumental voluntary. Another example would be if it is a crime ring and one of the crime soldiers would have confessed in order to have the police stop investigating right at them and not go further up the chain to their boss. The third type of false confession would be internalized coerced, and it is when the suspect is persuaded by their own guilt. So it's when the person says, hey, maybe I am guilty. These people who are supposed to know says that I am, so maybe I am, and they falsely confess to the crime because they're convinced that they are guilty. And the fourth and final way is internalized voluntary, and it's just when the person suspect has a mental illness and they just don't know right from wrong anymore, and they just confess even though that they did not commit it, because the false confessions mean that the suspect did not commit the crime. So what is sleep deprivation? Sleep deprivation is when you do not get enough sleep during the nighttime due to either poor conditions or not sleeping at all or enough hours. So say when you're staying up for studying an all-nighter for like a big exam the next day, you could either, for poor sleep conditions, you could either be so stressed that, like your roommate, say it's the night before an exam and your roommate turned up the heat up to 74 and you just couldn't sleep. Not sleeping in at all or enough, say you have the exam the next day and you're just completely stressed and you wake up every hour or so and you just never go back to sleep. And then to function, adults need 8 to 10 hours of sleep daily, and college students usually add on a lot of sleep debt throughout their entire college career, because sleep debt essentially is when we sleep less than the recommended 8 to 10 hours of sleep, and those leftover hours accumulate over time. So say on Monday we were to sleep 6 hours instead of 8. Okay, sleep debt, now we have 2 hours of sleep debt. And on Tuesday, we sleep 7 hours instead of 8. Now we have 1 hour of sleep debt for Tuesday. So in total, now we have 3 hours of sleep debt, and so on and so forth. And so usually during regular school times, without midterms and without finals, college students usually add on about 1 to 1.5 hours of sleep debt per day, meaning that they only sleep 7 to 6.5 hours a day. And it keeps adding on, and usually by the end of the week, a regular college student would have about 7 to 10 hours of sleep debt. And especially during finals, the stress is on a little bit more, and college students think that sleep could wait here or there. And so during finals, there would be, or a regular college student would add on 1.6 to 2 hours of sleep debt every day. So essentially, college students at the end of the final season would have 14 hours of sleep debt. But I don't know about you guys, but personally, I be sleeping a lot less than 6 hours a day when it comes to finals, or just in general. I have a lot of stuff that I need to get done, and I usually sleep around 4 to 5 hours of sleep per day. I know it's super bad, but yeah, no. Personally, my sleep debt is a little bit more than 14 or 7 hours a week. Some of the bad sides of sleep deprivation is it impairs judgment, it weakens memory, and it increases impulsivity. That part is not yet done. I did not do this slide. We're gonna ignore that. That came with the template, and I haven't gotten rid of that yet either. Yes, okay, so experiment, Frenda S.J. So his experiment was to see if sleep deprivation would influence people to make more false confessions. So his participant pool was a bunch of college students, and so the researchers would have half of the college students sleep a full 8 hours of sleep the night before, and the other half would have no sleep at all. They were kept awake all night by the researchers. And so the next day, the students were asked to come in and complete a computer task, and there was a key on the keyboard that they could not press. Like, it was the forbidden key. In this case, the experiment did not state the key, but yes. And so after the computer task was finished, all of the students were brought back into the room, and one by one, individually, they were accused of pressing the forbidden key, even though the researchers knew that they never did. Those sleep deprived actually confessed more than those who got enough sleep, due to the fact that the deprived people thought that, hey, maybe I am sleep deprived, I didn't get enough sleep, and maybe I did press the key on accident, like these are researchers, they know what they're doing, I probably did press it, it's whatever, I'll just sign the confession. Whereas the people who got enough sleep was like, no, hey, I know I'm in my right mind right now. I know I didn't press it. I'm not going to sign this false confession because I'm not guilty. Okay, so over on the y-axis, you can see the percentage of signed statement. And on the x-axis, you can see impulsive and cognitive style. So when there's low impulsive, which means that they got enough sleep, the percentage of rest actually signed more. But when impulsive cognitive style increased, the sleep deprived people was almost more than double the rested people. And then that is also part of the template that I did not remove yet. Yeah, thank you.